Yo. Welcome to the AllfaxN.Oslack Saints podcast. And it's your boy Kevin coming back to you with the first game of the season win. Who that? Let's go. A good, great, miraculous comeback from the New Orleans Saints. Had us all shook in the first half. You know that meme. You had us in the first half, but you know what I'm saying? We came back alive in the second half. This is a great Brazilian win from the New Orleans Saints. Offensive line just looked horrible. Let's just put it out there, right in the beginning, right? Offensive line looked horrible. Defense played good in the first half. You know what I mean? They made a few stops, but after a while, during the late of the first quarter, second quarter, it just kind of looked like it couldn't get a handle on Marcus Mariota, and the Saints typically struggled against RPO running quarterbacks, and he did majority of his damage on the ground. He didn't throw for any touchdowns. He didn't throw for any picks because he barely threw the ball. But as I digress, great win from the New Orleans Saints, and let's just get down to it, man. The historical thing for the New Orleans Saints that we struggle with, we have slow starts, right? And in typical New Orleans Saints fashion, slow start. I think the first half ended like 10-16, and it pretty much was offense. I think it had -2 passing yards because the offensive line was just horrible. Like everyone except for like almost Cesar Ruiz and Eric McCoy, who just got paid. Shit. Eric McCoy and Ryan Ramczyk getting just fucking destroyed, demolished, and Jameis had no time. You know what I'm saying? And it was a good game to see that it kind of taught you that there was a lot of growth from Jameis. Well, how bad the offensive line played when he was in Tampa, when it was the same situation, he was still trying to play hero ball, still trying to force things that didn't need to be forced, which led to turnovers, which led to putting the team in a worse position that they did not need to be. And as much as we hated it, as much as we didn't like it at the time, we're like, we need another play to happen. He took the sack, he threw the ball away, and he just pretty much waited till the defense and gave him what we needed. That's just what happened. No quarterback behind that offensive line in the first half was making any plays. That just wasn't happening. Unless you was just taking off running like Marcus Mariota, shout out to Taysom Hill, you a dog. I just say that boy got that dog in him. He got that motherfucking dog in him. Unless you like a type of quarterback like that, you're not making any plays like that. I don't care who you are. And the only positive play he had before that first half was, I think he had like a 7-yard run or something like that. But it was stagnant. It looked bad. And their defense was playing hard. And their defensive line was running past guys who wasn't blocking them. I saw one guy who just went, James Hurst, he just had a bad first half. He just had a bad first half. It just is what it is. Andrews Pete was just letting guys run by. Cesar Ruiz let guys run by. I mean, it just looked horrible. It looked awful. You know what I mean? But it felt like, Alvin Kamara had a few things here and there, and Mark Ingram had a few things here and there, but the run game wasn't too dominant in the first half. Passing game was just more abysmal. The run game was the best part, and it wasn't even doing that good in the first half. So, we just rattled off the numbers, Taysom Hill, 4 runs, 81 yards, 20.3 yards per rush. Along a 57, he scored a touchdown. That was the only thing the offense did in the first half, and it was great. And we kind of should have used him more. Plain and simple, we should have used him more. And Alvin Kamara, 9 rushes, 39 yards. This is the whole game, 9 rushes. 9 attempts, 39 yards, 4.3 yards per carry. Mark Ingram, 4 rushes, 22 yards. It was just a difficult day for the run game. But like I said, that whole first half of the offense just was abysmal. It's nothing to put there, right? Other than the Taysom Hill run, there was really no good parts of the offense. So Marcus, so now the halftime comes. I talked to my boy Rob. I'm on the phone with him, talking about what's going on. I'm like, oh man, this fucking offensive line, they fucking cooked. We cooked. We can't get nothing going. Jameis is snapping the ball. He's getting fucking killed. You know what I mean? Pete Carmichael, we need to switch this shit up. Defense is getting cooked by Marcus Mariota. Just everything I told y'all in the first 5 minutes of this video, which is horrible, right? Y'all watched the game just like me. Y'all watched this shit. It was bad. Second half, we come back. A comeback not right in the beginning. My girl's like, you know, I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the Bay Area. It's full of 49ers fans everywhere. And she texts me, she's like, yo, your drinks here. Before I left to go talk on the phone with my boy Rob, she's like, I'm like, yo, order me a drink. I'm going to come back after halftime. She's like, yo, your drinks here. You know, we starting. I said, all right, Rob, I'm going to call you back. About to go back inside. Go back inside. I'm watching the game. And third quarter, I forgot that we actually did. I don't know if we won the coin toss or not, but Atlanta had the ball first. So we got the ball back after half. And that drive was actually pretty decent. And I think we scored a field goal on that drive. And, you know, it brought it to like, 13-16 maybe, or 13-19, something like that. I'm like, okay, but that drive felt like it had some life in it. You know what I mean? So, second half, the offense completely came alive. Shout out to Pete Warner, though. I know that we're talking about the offense, but shout out to Pete Warner. Like, everybody complained about Quan Alexander not coming back, and us not re-signing Quan Alexander. But there was a reason why we didn't sign him back, and we stuck with Pete Warner. That dude, let me go to the numbers. Pete Warner, 12 tackles, a forced fumble. That dude was all over the field. That dude is he had a better game than D. Davis. We love D. Davis. He had a better game than D. Davis. And Pete Warner came through. Shout out to Pete Warner. All right. So we get back to the second half, you know what I'm saying? And now you're just starting to see the offense come to life. Kind of struggling a little bit, but they're starting to have more downs with like more drives where they're kind of like converting third downs a little bit more. But we just rattled off the numbers. Jameis went 23 for 34, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns, sacked 4 times, 110 QB rating. Jarvis Landry. As I'm reading off the stats, I'm gonna like stop and talk about, guys. Jarvis Landry, even through the first half, we didn't have much going on, but he caught a few passes in the first half. You know what I'm saying? 9 targets, 7 catches, 114 yards, 16.3 yards per catch. Getting these receivers, this is where, like, getting the weapons come into play. Even though you have times when you struggle, these guys are still going to get catches. These guys are still going to try to make plays. Jarvis Landry was like the godsend of the offense today. Even though we're going to get to Michael Thomas and Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry was the best receiver. Like, outside of Michael catching the 2 touchdowns, Jarvis Landry was the best receiver today. I mean, he was targeted the most. He only missed 2 catches. But he had 7 catches for 114 yards. You can't, like, that was awesome. He was the safety blanket you needed in a receiver to move the chains, a reliable pass catcher. We needed Jarvis Landry, and this guy's getting paid $6 million, I think, at the most, if he hits all his incentives. This was like one of the best things we got in the offseason as a receiving weapon. Michael Thomas, 8 targets, 5 catches, 57 yards, 11.4 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns. In the second half, he came to life. Him and Jameis went to the locker room, chopped it up, whatever they did, and can't guard Mike. You couldn't guard Mike. All these dumbass Atlanta Falcons fans, oh man, can't guard Mike. He stole money. Ankle. He don't want to play for y'all. AJ Terrell. Oh, he played AJ Terrell when he was a rookie. It didn't matter. He fucking sunned AJ Terrell today. That's his fucking son. All right, he carries him on his taxes. AJ Terrell sends him Father's Day cards. He calls him on Father's Day, FaceTimes, says, hey, his dad on Father's Day when he comes out to Michael Thomas. Out for 2 years, that's what happens. He gets sunned. All right, Chris Olave didn't do too much today. Called a 2-point conversion in the end zone. Had 2 passes, but he was 3 for 341 yards, 13.7 yards per catch. All right. You know, again, second half, the offense came alive. They were more active. And it looked like the offensive line had a little bit better protection. It was out of the Atlanta Falcons kind of like wasn't rushing as much. or it just looked like the offensive line had a little bit better protection. Whatever it was, Jameis definitely had a lot more time to make plays. And so, I mean, you get at the Falcons. Marcus Mariota, 20 for 33, 12 rushes for 72 yards, 6 yards a carry, 2 fumbles. Cordero Patterson, this guy killed us today. Killed us. This is part of the first half, which was unbearable. 22 rushes for 120 yards, a touchdown, 5.5 yards a carry. That's 2 carries he's getting the first down. This is what happened last year with us. He killed us. He's their Alvin Kamara, right? Like, he's their everything guy. 3 for 5 targets, 3 catches for 16 yards and receiving. He was definitely the best player for the Atlanta Falcons today. That's just straight up. Drake London, 7 targets, 5 yards. 7 targets, 5 catches, 74 yards, 14.8 yards per catch. He had a decent game, but again, his game kind of came more alive in the second half. The first half was mainly Marcus Mariota and Cordero Patterson. It was running up our ass. We couldn't stop the run. And that's another thing that alarmed me too. Our defensive line could not get a sack. Like, we're going to get on that. I can't pronounce this guy's name. Zacchaeus, 4 for 4, 49 yards, 12.3 yards per catch. K. Hodge, first initial K and last name Hodge, 3 for 3, 38 yards, 12.7 per catch. Kyle Pitts, the guy that was supposed to be the most problem for us, 7 targets, 2 catches, 19 yards, 9.5 yards per catch. He wasn't even a big deal. That was the crazy part. The crazy part, they killed us just what everybody said. We are what they thought they were, right? We are what we thought you were. The RPO, the running quarterback, we still struggled with that. So later on in the season, fellas, we're going to have to get that cleared up. We couldn't get a sack on. We couldn't get any pressures. So we need to get this shit cleared up right now. Defensive line, defense. We need to stop this running quarterback shit because this will bite us in the ass later. I got to look to see how many more quarterbacks we do this with, who's going to be doing shit like this. But if this happens, this is the Falcons. They just wind up doing what they do, choking. Any other better team, we play the Eagles again, this shit's fucking botched, yo. We don't win games like this. He killed us with his legs, not with his arm. So that was mainly the offense, right? The best thing I can say about our defense, like I said, Pete Warner. That whole defensive line did not play, no pressure at all, no nothing. Like, I can't give no props. We're supposed to be this top 10, top 5 defense, no pressure. Defensive line needs to step the fuck up. Linebackers, Pete Warner, 12 tackles, 1 forced fumble. Marcus May, 8 tackles. He was another guy, safety that we just got a new addition from the Jets this year. Even though he was there for the first hit for a lot of plays and other players finished, but he was the first to attack for a lot of shit. 8 tackles, 1 forced fumble, which Honey Badger recovered for the fumble recovery. That guy's good, man. He's fucking good. Then we look at team stats. We had 18 first downs. They had 26. 4 for 13 on third downs. They had 5 for 13. 385 total yards, 416 yards. 234 passing, 215 passing. Shout out to James. 151 rushing, 201. We ran the ball better. 57 total plays, 71 total plays. Makes sense. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't do anything in the first half on offense, so a lot of this came from the first half. Turnovers, we had 1. Okay, we had 1. We gave the ball up once, and that was from Mark Ingle on a play to try to like salvage, like he was running the ball, and he tried to throw the ball up for somebody else to get it, and it didn't happen. It didn't work out, and that was the only turnover. Shout out James, didn't have no picks. Atlanta had 2 turnovers. Jameis sacked 4 times. Mariota sacked none. Penalties, 8 penalties, 99 yards. Atlanta, 8 penalties, 55 yards. Time of possession, New Orleans, 26 minutes, 16 seconds. Time of possession for the Falcons, 33 minutes, 44 seconds. A better team. You look at the stats down the Falcons line for the time of possessions, first downs, total yards. We get beat by a better team. They played good. I'm not disrespecting them. They made us fight. But just more of a champion caliber, more experienced, more team that's like settled in and know who they are and what they're going through. we lose this game. They beat us on everything. Like I just named out everything except for the passing yards. They beat us on everything total team stats. But the thing that made us special that I loved about this game that we all as Saints fans have to love, resilience, comeback, that dog in us, as they say. Oh my God, I hate that meme. I don't know why I say this, but that fight. I know what they did at halftime, but Jameis Winston, first 3 quarters, one to 3 quarters, 10 for 18, 56 yards, no touchdowns. Fourth quarter, 13 for 16, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 of those incompletions were spikes. It was big for out of all these people to have these touchdowns, for Michael Thomas to have these touchdowns, because all the social media bullshit, all the scrutiny towards him, he didn't play in 2 years. For him and for Michael and James to have that connection the way they did in the second half, and for them to click up and to see Michael doing doing a swole up and just bossing up on AJ Terrell. Shout out to Michael Thomas versus AJ Terrell. All you dumbass Falcons fans and said this, all that shit. I kind of covered that earlier. But yeah, that's his daddy. But anyway, that needed to happen more than anything. Kind of like that guy who kind of like in those movies, I don't know, motherfucker got knocked out with amnesia, and this guy used to be this great guy. And it's like, you need him to remember who he is. You know what I mean? Whatever it is you need him to remember, you need for him to remember who he is, for everybody to get back in the groove. That's what it was in the second half for Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston. He needed to get those touches. He needed to get those catches. He needed to get those touchdowns to get back into even though he might have it in his head, but still in real time, you still want to see that. You still want to do that for yourself, to be like, I'm back. I'm here. I'm that guy. You need that from that guy to get those touches, to get those catches, to really click in his head. I'm back. I'm fucking back. Yo, I'm fucking back. You know what I'm saying? That's what we needed. And so I really would like to carry this momentum in the next week against Tampa Bay at home. As a Saints fan, the things that you really have to be happy about was that they made adjustments at halftime. The offense started clicking in the second half. Jarvis Landry is the reliable guy that everybody knew he was. The connection with Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston is there. Not much production out the tight ends. We still need to see more of that. Not a lot of the running backs, but I don't know, again, if it was just like they need to still click up more and get things done. But the offensive line didn't play good. But still in all, the resilience and the comeback and the dog effort and the moxie, the fight that this team had that showed you that they can adjust in the second half. This is what you need from a team that a lot of fan base and a lot of teams don't see in their teams until like later in the season, maybe never in the season. So the first game, we got to make a comeback by 16 points in enemy territory, and a hard-fought rival in a division rival. This is what you need. This is what you want to see. So shout out to New Orleans Saints. Shout out to Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, Ryan Nielsen, Chris Richard, and that whole team getting together and making this comeback and showing that, yo, we're here. You know what I'm saying? Sean Payton's not here, but we're here. Drew Brees not here, but we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're not taking no losses lying down, and we put up a fight. And, hopefully we can come out to a faster start. Hopefully we don't have to start as slow as typical New Orleans Saints fashion, and we get those Knicks and shit kinked out. Hopefully Alvin Kamara get more involved, and we can just have a better game with him at home, because we want our best player. He's like the best player on the team. Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill needs to be more involved. Taysom Hill had that big-ass run in the beginning, but we can see he has a big effect on the game. And we need him more involved in shit like that. But anyway, welcome to the AllfaxN.Oslack Saints podcast. I'm not going to stay away too long next time. Shout out to the off-season moves. We're going to miss CD Deuce, but shit had to happen. You're a nickel corner wanting safety money. We loved you for what you did, but we couldn't do that. I'm glad we got Eric McCoy paid. I'm glad we came away with this thing injury-free. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Saints. Shout out to the fans who traveled to Atlanta. And let's make this shit pop again. We're going to do this again next week. All Facts, No Slacks. Who That Saints podcast. And I'm out.